let's let Christopher Smith lead us into the next game. He says, Teddy Bridgewater going to try to light up Mini tonight. Let's take a look at this game. Vikings at Saints. Saints opened at -3. They're now at -2.5 at Pinnacle and Bet Online, 3 everywhere else. The total opened at 37. Now it's 37.5 everywhere, 38 at UWager. Mike Zimmer, 14-7 against the spread and 8-12-1, veering towards the under. Sean Payton, 26-23 against the spread in preseason and 22-23-4 towards the over-under. Vikings defense has a lot of depth. They have a lot of depth, and we will probably see that this evening. And Chad Beebe, some of these guys trying to make an impact this year who didn't make much of one last year. Chad Beebe, Northern Illinois, will be rolling most likely. Vikings have addressed their weakness on the offensive line. Garrett Bradbury in the first round and Drew Samia in the fourth. And tonight will be all about Teddy Bridgewater and Taysom Hill at quarterback. And Peyton has said about Bridgewater, he is certainly going to play a lot this week. When you hear that Bridgewater is certainly going to play a lot this week, Donnie Rightside, does that give an edge to the New Orleans Saints?
Yeah, I like that. And I hope it means more than he's going to play. And Jacoby Brissett's going to get a lot of time. Well, he didn't really get too much time. Would he throw 5 passes last night? If he does get a really good look, that's going to be an added bump. And also, you're talking about a backup behind him with Taysom Hill, which is the same thing. Look, again, Josh Dobbs isn't the end-all, be-all quarterback. Who's probably going to be a career third stringer. But when we talk about some aspects in the preseason, what happens, if you watch Taysom Hill, the guy's been there, done that. He's been around the NFL. He's a jackknife. He's going to get a chance to show a little bit off the quarterback. And he's got some wheels, which you love. Again, these third and fourth string offensive linemen that aren't going to be playing football much longer. They can't hold their blocks. They can't pick up blitzes. They have barely anything going on. So if the play breaks down, give me some guy with feet. I think the better backup situation here is with New Orleans, the same way I do with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Is it a home field advantage? Are we getting, get back from the Minnesota Miracle? None of that out here. I just think the better overall backup situation is going to the New Orleans Saints. I think they win this game as well, the same way I think Pittsburgh does also, Jimmy.
There we go. Donnie backing both home teams tonight. Whale Capper, Vikings at Saints.
Unbelievable that Donnie would go against his Super Bowl champion Minnesota Vikings. I'm shocked. I'm going to go against Donnie on this one. I like the Vikings in this spot. It comes down to their defensive depth for me, and their defensive coaching staff in general. They have coached up, replacement level guys to be good players year in, year out. And while I like Teddy Bridgewater, I like what we've seen from him over the course of his NFL career. And last year when the Saints, scooped him, I thought, man, that was a coup. They got their next starting quarterback. This is going to be great. You go back and look at the way that the Saints utilized him in the preseason last year, it wasn't impressive. The handful of times that Teddy Bridgewater has been injected into the starting role for the Saints team, it doesn't look like the coaches really know how to adapt their offense from what Drew Brees brings to the table to what Teddy Bridgewater does. And so I don't know that I have a lot of hope here that Bridgewater is going to look like a competent quarterback under this Sean Payton system. It's a good fit in theory, but I have yet to really see it manifest as an effective and impressive offense. And so, Taysom Hill may undo me on this one. That's positively possible because he's a dynamic athlete, and if he gets legit reps at the QB position, they may score some points that I'm not counting on here. But overall, I think the fact that that the Vikings are going to be focusing on integrating their young offensive linemen and probably key on the running game, I think they're going to find space. I think they're gonna get yards on the ground against the Saints second unit D, which is not great. And the Saints as an overall team, I don't really have a lot of respect for their depth. So I think the Vikings come away with the win here, and I think the cherry on top is that kind of for whatever reason, Harbaugh and for whatever reason Pete Carroll care about the preseason, go for the wins. There's a little bit of that with Zimmer as well. He definitely kind of values these more than most coaches do in terms of opportunities to get momentum going with your team. And if it comes into a late game situation, I would expect Zimmer to kind of go for the jugular as opposed to just waving the white flag.
Very interesting. Donnie Rightside, Whale Capper on either side here. Now let's talk total. We'll go right back to you, Whale Capper. It's veering up. 37 and a half. There's a 38 at UWager. What do you think about this total?
Yeah, this is another underlook for me. I'm not interested in expecting, touchdowns, and especially effective or efficient offenses here. I think the Minnesota defense is the unit that gets this done. So I would look for an under. I'm probably looking for a first half under, specifically circling a first half under here, just because I think as we get later into the game, maybe you see more trickery, more silliness, more risk taking on the part of the Saints offense, which could be some unexpected late points there. First half under is probably my angle I'm hitting if I'm hitting a total here.
First half under, says Whale Capper. Donnie Rightside, total here. Viking Saints now at 37.5.
I'm on the same wavelength. I'm going to take the under 37.5 just to try to look at this, because you have the opposite sides here, right? You have Mike Zimmer, who's defensive coordinator, defensive head coach. He's going to preach defense coming in. It's toughness. So they're really going to be ramped up on defense. Then you're going to flip it over the offensive side where Sean Payton says, you know what? I don't want to show these guys anything, because when it comes down to it, these are going to be two players in the NFC playoff race. Do they want to show maybe a flea flicker in the first half or second half that somebody can file that one away for later in the year? This game is going to be so vanilla played. Give me the under 37.5.
The under. That sounds like the play I trust the most through these two games that we're talking about. Tom Marino says, I'd lean under. Bridgewater almost never threw down the field even before his knee injury. So there's our action